Hey all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello. How are we doing, people? I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. I don't like her. I don't like her. I don't like her. She goofy. She is everything wrong. She is the representation of everything wrong with the image of the strong, independent Black woman. And she everything wrong with like the Democrats as well as it pertains to their relationship with Black America. Not so much just the party itself, but the party's relationship to Black America. She embodies it, and it's not good. It's not good. She gets on here and she acts like she know what she talking about. And she just telling it like it is. Like, she telling it like the TI is. The girl. And because she exudes that energy, Black America, particularly the women, eat that up. Just like they ate up the twerking at the Democratic rallies. Just like they ate up no voting, no vucking, and how they ate up get your booty to the poll. It's Thank you, Miss Savon, for becoming a new member. I appreciate you.
But now you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
I appreciate you becoming a member of the channel. I'm tired. I'm already tired, Miss Sabrina. I'm tired, Miss Sabrina. I'm tired, Miss Sabrina. I mean, why am I so angry? Why am I so angry? I'm in a mood. Don't get the link dropped, please. Because I'm not in a bad mood. See, you picked up right away. You picked up right away what it is. I've gone further and further away from allowing the twin access to this channel. And I don't know if people think it's sweet or not. It's not. It's not. It's not. It's not sweet.
To go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I know that's right.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation. So I had to go around the.
First off, let me say this. I don't trust no Black woman that regularly wear wigs, that have the money to have a good wig, and she purposely don't have a good wig. I don't trust, let me say that one more time. I don't trust a Black woman that regularly wear wigs and also has the money to upkeep a good wig and refuse to wear a good wig. I don't trust that. Black women in the hood care more about the wigs that they wear than this chick care about hers. And the chicks in the hood don't even really be having the money to pay for them wigs like that, but they'll sit there and they'll try to pluck them and do all this stuff. And here you is, got money, and your leave out look like this. It's frizzy at the top. It's stiff when you move. And this may sound petty. It sounds like I'm just being petty. But it say a lot to have the money that she have and to simultaneously have a wig that don't move. If you ain't come here for no chili, what you come for? If you not gonna wear a better wig than that, just wear your hair. What's with the wig if we not gonna comb it? What's with the wig if we not gonna make sure that it is a pristine wig? The lace front is coming out too far. I don't trust that. It says costume. It says I put the wig on in order to appear more palatable to the sisterhood in the Black community, whether they have money or not. And I'm not really about that. Everything that goes on with me is a charade, a facade, and a lie. That's what that says to me. See, it seems petty. It seems small, but it's not. I'm not actually being petty about this wig. Then she is giving a talk in that clip. She is giving a talk at a church. And she is talking about immigrants, farming, and how we ain't gonna pick no cotton no more. I'm not even going to go down the route of many of our much of the farmland is industrialized because it is owned by larger corporations. Aside from that, we do have smaller, and I'm putting that in quotes because they are not small, farms that are ran by families, smaller businesses, smaller farm, not corporate farms, not conglomerates. And the people who have been targeted the most and have suffered the most in terms of losing farmland, being, illegally displaced off of farmland by shady legal tactics, loopholes, the greasing of various palms, has been Black people, indigenous Black people. So much so that the Black farmer is almost a myth, especially large farms. Black families, from smaller to like mid-sized farms, different farms, are constantly in federal court, in their state courts, excuse me, fighting for their right to maintain farmland, fighting for their right to continue to distribute, harvest, and sell things like corn. Now, why corn? Because America has allowed Monsanto to take up the majority of the corn belt. Not only that, Monsanto, for example, has a patented GMO corn seed. They GMO their corn, and that seed is proprietary in a legal sense. What happens is other farms that also grow corn, who do not have that GMO seed, Monsanto has been known to go after these farms in expensive lawsuits that the farmers cannot afford to maintain, the tangling up in court, because Monsanto accuses the farms of infringing on the proprietary GMO seed by testing these other farms' harvests to see what percentage of their corn harvest is GMO. Now, the problem with all of that is that nobody is going to purchase or in any way steal Monsanto's GMO seed. Do you know what is happening and how that strain of corn gets on other corn farms? Do you know how it gets there? You know how that GMO corn gets to other farmland and grows in with their crop? The wind and the bees. It is called pollination. It is called pollination. Wind, bees, birds. The natural process of pollination that we learned about in grammar school, where bees pollinate, they land on different plants, gets on the actual bee, the bee flies somewhere else, gets on other plants, those seeds and those go into the soil somewhere else. The birds eat the seeds, fly somewhere else, poop the seed out. That seed grows. Just a simplified version of pollination process. I think that they tried to off the bees. Remember years ago that there were many reports about what's going on with the bees, why we don't see no bees, the bee population is down. I think that these corporations intended to significantly reduce the population of bees in order to curb the natural process of pollination, but then realized that that would annihilate the ecosystem. So you can't do it. You can't do it. And so therefore, the bee population made a comeback. Nobody talks about the bee population being down anymore. The reason why I'm going through all of that is to demonstrate that Black people, Black American and indigenous Black people, do not have any problem farming. We don't have a problem with that. The other thing about it is that we're talking about who wants to go and get a farming job. How many people know how to get a farming job? If you are in an urban area, they're not posting farmhand jobs on Indeed. So how do you know how to even get a farmhand's job? Where do you go to sign up for a farmhand's job? Where do you go? Who's got the inside track on where you're supposed to go, who you're supposed to talk to, and what is the methodology of acquiring such a job? Also, how does a person that lives and grew up in an urban area supposed to afford the relocation to a rural area where farms are? Farms are not in the city. Farms are in rural areas, rural tracts of land. Black people are not angry, nor are we reluctant to do labor work. Do you know what people want? Do you know what they want? It's not the difficult work, because I know many men that would do it. Our men are being forced to do it in prison. So many of Black men who are in prison know how to farm because the prison system sends them out to farm. When they are released, they cannot go to that farm because they're convicted felons, and the farm will not hire them. We have only ever asked for a living wage. A living wage. And the Democrats will have us to believe that that is an unreasonable request. Democrats like her will have us to believe and try to gaslight us into thinking that asking for a living wage for a job that they consider to be low skilled and not as much of importance, they'll try to gaslight us that a living wage for such a job is untenable and unsustainable. So therefore, they need a slave class, illegal immigrants, to work these farm jobs for little to nothing for wages, so that they do not need to pay them any wage or a living wage to do this backbreaking, very difficult labor. So what the Democrats are gaslighting everybody into believing is that America needs a slave class to survive. And since Black people have decided that we are no longer going to be a slave class, they decided that other people get to be in the slave class. And Black people that complain about it need to shut up, because if you don't want to be in the slave class, then you have to be quiet, because we're going to have a slave class. We're not going to pay these essential people living wages. We're not going to. We've never done it. Since the inception of the colonization of this country, they have never paid for that labor. And they're not going to start. That is what they are saying. We've never paid for that. We have always either forced the labor as slave labor, or we have convinced illegal immigrants that they will have a better life if they come to America. We will not pay them what we would pay an American citizen, because American citizens want money. What they've told the immigrant is that the American citizen is lazy and does not want to do this work, that they think that they're too good for the work. So therefore, you're hardworking people. You don't mind honest work for an honest day's pay. So what we'll do is we will tell you, and what they do is they send that money back to their country where it can be spent and where they can benefit the most from that money. So saying that people are lazy because they want to be paid, this is the same rhetoric that slave owners had during Reconstruction. As chattel slavery was ending, that was the narrative of Black people. The reason that Black people don't want to be slaves anymore is because they're lazy, asking for money to do something that they should be happy to do if they want to be regarded as good, honest, hardworking people. But these lazy Negroes don't want to do the work to put in. The least they can do is this labor to be able to live in this country with us. That is the sentiment. Tell me I'm lying. Did not white folk have that sentiment at that time? Negro slave labor should have been done happily by the slave in return for the ability to breathe and exist here. They're telling the migrant that for the ability to exist here, you should be happy to do backbreaking work for little to no money. Because we know that no matter what this dollar go through, it's 9 times out of 10 going to be more valuable than your money in your original country. But if you take this dollar and bring it back to your original country, you can live like a king. It's not laziness that keeps us from doing work. To give 80 hours, 40, 60, 80 hours a week to anybody and not be able to cover my rent and not be able to cover basic food, basic clothing, and basic needs, you can't ask nobody to do that. They want illegal citizens to do the work because an illegal citizen is not entitled to or covered under labor laws because they're not legal citizens. So the federal government does not have to and cannot mandate that these undocumented persons be covered by current labor law that should prevent slave labor, child labor, unreasonably long hours for little to no pay, things of that nature. That is why labor law exists. You got to take a break after so many hours. The boss can't keep you indefinitely locked to this job and all of this type of stuff. They've got to give you a set schedule and they've got to give you a minimum wage. That is what minimum wage means. It means a wage that they cannot pay you below that number depending on what state you are in. Okay? And undocumented citizens are not covered by that law because they are not citizens. The law is for the citizens, not for undocumented people. So they're taking advantage of those people and those people's desire to have a better life, those people's desire to, try to better their situation, and they're taking advantage of the desperation of these people leaving whatever conditions that are active going on in their country of origin, things of that nature. So these people are desperate in a lot of cases, and they're coming here to try to remedy their situation. Mind you, it's the American government and various embargoes, all kinds of trade things, political things going on that undermines these other countries' governments and economies, making it thus difficult for those people. And then saying, you can come here. She's everything. She is representative of the problem with the thinking. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Is that what she's doing? Is that what she's doing? Is that what she really doing? Or is that what she convincing everybody that she doing? She's fighting the good fight. Is she though? But is she? Her getting on camera and talking sassy about Elon and Trump, what does that mean to me? She can say all of that, that's fine. But what I'm more interested in what she telling black people. That's what I'm interested in. Cause she don't got the teeth to take Trump down. So I'm interested more in what she's telling black people. And whether or not her intentions are altruistic in terms of black people. After these messages, we'll be right back. I need everybody to go to ashkicking.com. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. If we're trying to keep our skin looking and smelling so smooth, so wonderful, so delicious, then you need to go and get this body butter that you see right here. And you can only get this body butter at ashkicking.com. Also, if it's going to be your first order, take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson at checkout. Once again, that link is pinned to the top of the chat. ashkicking.com. Thank you. Alton Jermaine said, do you think she plans to run for president? She may. I don't know. Thank you, Tokyo. So the 80s call said it wants his wigs back. Right. Thank you, DDEC says this has to do with the stratospheric aerosol geoengineering. That's real. I'm sure you're hip. And thank you again. Said the death of the bees. Jasmine Crockett is everything wrong with the Democratic Party and its relationship with the black community. It continues to astound me that we can see clearly the Republican Party and all of its wrongdoings, and we can point out how different policies are antithetical to the progress of black people and things of that nature, but we cannot see when we being played with. Not supporting the Republican Party is perfectly fine. But the answer is not the Democratic Party. It's not. These people, as a collective party throughout the years, have perpetuated every ideology that they could that have broken us as a people. They have perpetuated those things. The stuff we complain about. We complain about baby deletions, and they're the main people who push that, the party that pushes women's rights, and they put it under women's rights and da 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 da. They're the main people. We as a people complain about feminist ideals and various ideologies that have affected us as a people, that keep us from creating and maintaining healthy family units. That is the party that perpetuated so much of those ideologies, and they packaged them in ways that we would accept. They packaged them in ways that we would not be able to see and detect the destruction of those ideologies until it was too late. It astounds me that Black people as a collective still don't see that. You still don't see. You still don't see the destruction that the ideals of the Democratic Party have perpetuated to and through Black people for more than a century. We live in its destruction and we still don't see it. And the reason that we don't see it is because it comes in a calm packaging. It comes in a packaging that we will accept. It's a Trojan horse. The Democratic Party is a Trojan horse. It's a Trojan horse party. It perpetuates pretty much the same ideologies that the Republican Party perpetuates in terms of the overtones of white supremacy or white survivalism and the destruction of Black people in America. It shares that. It shares it. It's just that the Republican Party has always been a bit more forthright with saying that, the power structure should be this, and we're comfortable with that hierarchy. The Democrats are a Trojan horse. It comes bearing gifts and smiling and speaking kindly, and it comes to poison everything. It poisons everything. Everything. And I don't know why we support it. Because when you talk to Black people, generally, we are more conservative than we are liberal. We have more conservative ideas. We have ideas about gender roles and traditional family structures and traditional community structures. We don't, as culturally and historically, we have never really engaged with the more libertarian way of thinking. We've always been more family oriented. We've always been more community oriented until recent generations. We have always put our spirituality at the front, historically, our spirituality at the front, and making sure that we are proper, and we, that we until recent generations, we didn't support promiscuity and breaking of the families, and we didn't support that stuff. We didn't support things like criminal activities, and we didn't support those things as a group. We didn't support those things. We supported more traditional values as a culture. The Democratic Party does not. You realize that, don't you? The fact that we can't see the problem is in front of our face. And because the problem twerks and smiles and sister girls, we overlook it. We don't know. It's just like that. It's just like that video I did with old girl that got popped on the street. We only wanted to recognize the hyena that was aggressive. We only see it when it's out front. We only recognized the masculine big back aggressive one as a hyena. We didn't register Savannah as a hyena. That's why everybody was so upset that I held her accountable. People were upset that I held Savannah accountable because they didn't see her as a hyena. But she is. She's the hyena that will call HR on you. She's not going to fight. She's not going to argue with you like that. She's not going to become aggressive and violent, but she will call HR. You're going to have a meeting tomorrow and you're going to get fired. She is going to call the police and have you arrested. She's not going to hit you. She's not going to curse at you. Folks can't see a hyena when they do that, when they be subtle. Subtlety is the death of Black people. We can't see nothing that's subtle. We can't see nothing that's subtle because that girl was a subtle hyena rather than a boisterous, loud, violent one. People was mad that I held her accountable for her portion. We already see the big hyena. We already know what she doing. My point was there's two hyenas on the screen, not one. That was not an exchange between a lioness and a hyena. Those are two hyenas. The Republican and the Democratic Party are two hyenas. One is more overtly ready to bite you, and the other one is going to wait until you turn your back to bite you. They still going to bite you. And they still have the same agenda. They got the same agenda to get rid of you. That's the agenda. The agenda is you. And just because one goes about it like this and the other one goes about it like this, they're still doing it. That's why I didn't harp on that big girl. We already know she being stupid. We already know she's stupid. Why would I spend 7, 10, 15 minutes telling y'all that she's stupid? We already know that. Just because Jasmine Crockett is not getting up somewhere twerking or whatever, I guess she ain't twerking, doesn't mean she's not a hyena. It doesn't mean that she's not still perpetuating misinformation at the very least, and trying to keep Black people in the mindset that has kept us down for centuries. The Republican Party isn't the answer, but neither is the Democrat. They're not the answer. We've been doing that. We've been rocking with them. We as Black people, we've been rocking with them. We've been giving them all of our votes. We've been giving them all of our attention. We have been giving them all of our support. We have been crying from the mountaintops that everybody needs to vote Democrat and the Democrats have our best interests at heart. And we always suffer underneath them. And then we don't see it. Look at the different cities that are under Democratic rule, especially Black-led Democrats, whether they're male or female, not even just the women. The male mayors too. Mayors like Eric Adams in New York. Mayors like Brandon, what's his name? Johnson in Chicago. And the different Black Democratic mayors and things of that nature, especially when their cities have large Black demographics of people, Black people don't do well under that because of the ideology of the party and what it stands for and represents. Black people don't never do well under it. The part about the immigrants argument that Jasmine Crockett is making that I really don't like is that there's no qualifier for it. And people don't, the Democrats are trying to make people, when I say people, the general working class of Americans, trying to make us feel bad about not wanting millions of influx of undocumented people in this country taking up the workforce. Okay. They're trying to convince us that we're not being humanitarian, that you're a bad person if you think it's an issue to have millions of people over the course of 3, 4, 5 years coming into the country and taking those lower wage, lower skill jobs, quote unquote, those lower jobs. They're trying to convince us that we don't have like we're not empathetic to people's plight. And because those people may have a plight that they're coming from, maybe, because it's not all of them, a plight that they're coming from their country and here, they're trying to convince us as Black people to support them on the humanitarian front, and they want us to ignore what it does to us as a group on the political front and the socioeconomic front. Black people should ignore what happens to us from a socioeconomic standpoint and from a political standpoint, while being the giving everybody else the boost. Yeah, we empathetic to a sad plight. Here, come to America, we're gonna help you achieve an American dream that has been denied to us for generations. They want us as a group to be the step stool for other classes of people, to help them achieve some measure of the American dream that we have been simultaneously denied as a group for centuries. And we're supposed to say, yes'm. Sure, we're glad to help y'all. Sure, we're glad to help, boss. Sure, we're glad to help. And any of us that say, not so fast, if we help them, who helps us? As we careen towards political and social extinction in this country, as we careen towards that, our families are broken. So we cannot build communities. We cannot build nuclear family structures, healthy families. Our birth rates are low. Our marriage rates are low. Everything is at an all-time low. We're unable to recover quickly enough to become relevant again, politically and socially and socioeconomically, as we continue to be left behind more and more and more as the world speeds up and we don't change pace. We regress, everything else goes forward. And we go into oblivion. We just go into nothingness. We disappear into the event horizon. And then what? Then what happens to us? What happens to us? This is nothing to do with not having empathy for people. But who would have, if this country tanks, and we descend into a deeper recession, because we're in a recession. If we descend into a deeper recession and Black people continue to suffer and suffer and suffer under the weight of it, where can we as a group escape to? Who's going to have the empathy for us to say, you can come where we are and we're going to help you to get yourselves back together in this place where you can survive. You know how many homeless people it is? You know how many homeless Black people it is? And homeless Black women. I'm gonna do a show on that. The homelessness epidemic. Nobody want to talk about that. They're dressing up the homeless. You know what they're calling it? It's van life, RV life. Homelessness. When you have to live in your car, homeless. When you have to try to be in and out of a hotel whenever you can, homeless. And a lot of these homeless people are working. A lot of these homeless people have full-time jobs. And they go to them. They go to work every day. And we're not heading into economic extinction with the level of homelessness, and it's wreaking more havoc on us than it would other communities, because we are so disconnected as a group in terms of our inability to be married and create families, therefore creating more stable homes economically. We've got people still online every day fighting about, I'm not going 50-50. Like, what? You don't see the writing on this wall? This isn't about any of that trifling stuff y'all think it's about. Getting with somebody and helping to pay is survival at this point. To have the stability to stay in a place where you're literally not living pillar to post. And you talking about, I ain't going 50-50, like, huh? I don't understand how we don't see this stuff and it's happening. Eggs is more than $10 a dozen in different places. That's not a recession to y'all. You know, inflation and recession go hand in hand. Those two things happen simultaneously in this economy. I don't understand how people don't see it. Y'all ain't paying bills right now. You don't know how high this stuff is. Homelessness costs you. It costs to be homeless. See, you would think that you don't have any expenses when you homeless, but you do. If you're homeless and living in your car and you have a job, your car maintenance costs. Anything that you needed to have in storage costs once a month. You still gotta eat. It costs. If you ain't got nowhere to cook nothing, then you have to order food or go get. And in order to keep that cost lower, you have to go get the cheapest fast food to eat, which is unhealthy. All of that stuff, there's a cost to be homeless. You don't get away with no expenses if just because you homeless. I don't believe that they will, at least not immediately. Here's what I think about the tariffs. I get the concept. Hear me out. The concept goes a little bit like this. America as it stands no longer can sustain itself with its own like manufacturing and agriculture and things of that nature. Our economy is too dependent on consumerism of other people's imported goods and things of that nature. So let's say if we ever get into it with other countries that supply something to us that is very important and they stop supplying it, we don't even have a backup to supply it for ourselves at a decent rate and a decent price. You really can't run an economy like that. You can't really have an economy for a country this big that is just consumerism. That's just a consumer country. You have to be able to produce something of import, something. You have to be able to produce things to sustain your own country, and you have to be able to produce things that you can export to other countries as well. This is basic like grammar school economy 101, right? So the concept is that to reverse that unfortunate situation that we're in, we need to be able to recoup money instead of just bleeding it, and try to force various companies to open manufacturing plants here rather than just abroad by hiking the tariffs for the other countries and lowering the cost here to try to reverse the incentivization that removed the companies in the first place. When I talk about the tariffs, I like to go all the way back because we're in this position and it's an unfortunate position to begin with. Our country, whoever made those decisions, should never have incentivized companies to save money on their bottom line, because a company is going to do it, by incentivizing them to move manufacturing of various goods to other countries in order to lower the costs of manufacture, the costs of producing items, and then selling it back into the American market. Why did we do that? Why did we remove our ability to do it? The removal of our ability to make the cars, to make the, you know what I mean? To produce the goods that build things instead of importing everything. You can't import everything. You have to be able to manufacture something for you, important things for the survival of the country. So I get the concept, right, of let's reverse that and make it to where we're once again like a powerhouse, right? And our economy can actually be strong. Even if we get into it with another country, we won't just fall because of that. However, just because I understand the concept, I don't think it'll necessarily work. The way he's going about it is like, he's going about it like a gangster. And I don't think that's the way that we ought to play ball like that. Like, he's trying to play ball like hardball right off the bat. I kind of get that too, but you got to be smart. And I don't think that he's moving smart with that. Even if, let's pretend that his concept works. Let's pretend for a moment that the methodology and the concepts will work. It's gonna take years for it to work. It's not gonna be some overnight thing. Mainly because companies, especially companies that are not billions of dollar corporations and conglomerates, if they have manufacturing outside the country, they're probably gonna fold, because you can't just move the manufacturer somewhere else. It's not magic. Like, there's logistics involved with that. That's not magical. That's not a wave of a wand. That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, to uproot how my business is even structured in order to relocate or rearrange my manufacturer and distributorship, which is a big deal, away from where I have it, where I've already calculated my costs. I've already determined, how I can sell my products and things of that nature, the cost of making them and things of that nature, the cost of marketing, the cost of selling, the cost of doing business, essentially. You make me shift that around. And what? You think I can just do that in a month? In 2 months? A couple of weeks? It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. So even if we were to pretend that the tariff situation would work the way that he thought it would work, it's still going to take years to reverse that. The economy will be worse before it gets better, and that's in the best case scenario. It is going to tank and then recover under the best case scenario. Under the worst case scenario, the whole thing tanks, and then he has to come up off of that whole situation with the tariffs and go back to the way that it actually is now to try to recover it. So like I said, to sort of wrap that up, that concept up, the general gist, I get it. I actually agree with it. I agree that we should have control over important manufacture, and we should have control over our economy better than that, because America has been sold. It has been sold to other countries. Various trade agreements, and all of that type of stuff have divvied the country up. And now we're not the powerhouse economically that we were before, years ago. So, this is why other countries are even fighting back, because they like, what you gonna do? You don't even make nothing. And the stuff that you do make to export, we put so many high tariffs on that, it doesn't pay for you to export it. So I get what Trump is doing. I get the reasoning, the method, though, and whether or not it's actually gonna work is another story. That's another conversation. I do think so as well. It's let me force your hand, because I'm not really playing with y'all. So now let's talk about what's really happening with these trade agreements, because that too. A couple of things are true. The largest companies are going to, let me say something. It's not just the larger companies. When in a recession like this is where wealth transfer happens from the masses to the 1%. It happens right now. This is where they start buying land. This is where they start buying certain stock. Because the stock is low, stock market crash. The stock market crashing is a good thing when you want to buy. So if we're smart, invest. Find something, look at what's going on. The market crashing is a good thing. That means shares are cheap. Shares are cheap. Companies, shares, prices are dip very low. They're very affordable. Okay? You buy in the dip, you sell in the high. This is a bear market. It's a bear market. But wealth is being transferred now. The same way in the other recession with the housing and the credit bubble, and then the banks got bailed out. Remember when Obama did that? Because let's not act like we didn't have a whole recession under Obama, and he didn't bail us out. He bailed the banks out. Remember that? And how wealth transferred at that point. Do you remember that? We have to buy. For those of you who got a couple of dollars, start investing. The market will go back up, and you'll thank me later. Yes. This one's worse. This recession's worse. Yeah. Yeah. Don't pay attention to the day-to-day. Oh, the market crash. I don't know why y'all worried about it. Buy it. Right. Things like steel. Recommend ETF stock for people with not much money. XLE energy ETF stocks. XLK tech sector. SLK steel. VXUS internation stocks. They're affordable and they're going to go up. So pay attention to the market. Don't worry about it crashing. It is crashed. It go back. Before we get out of here, I'm going to need everybody to click the link at the top of the chat and check this out.
All of these styles and designs can be found at our Etsy shop in the description below. Aaliyah's Unique Boutique at Etsy.com. Follow us on IG at Aaliyah's Unique Boutique.
You definitely want to check out Aaliyah's Unique Boutique. The link is at the top of the chat. Go click it. She's selling these wonderful hand-painted, handmade earrings. Every pair is a one of a kind. There are no two pair that are exactly the same. So these are hand-painted. They are hand-designed, all of that. They are on Etsy. So you know that it's handmade, and the quality is excellent. They're very lightweight. Even if they're at the larger sizes, they're not heavy earrings at all. And they're beautiful for the summer, for different occasions. You definitely want to check back periodically because the inventory is updated regularly. So click the link, take a look, buy yourself a wonderful pair of earrings, treat yourself, get yourself a little treat. All right. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Oh, before I think it's some more. Thank you, Samuel. Said Miss Crockett is an educated person who forgets to use the decorum that goes with her position. Hello, Mrs. Baker's doesn't. Does she realize her ill allegiance? Thank you, Scorched Earth said they get money off illegals. Yeah. Thank you, OG said 15 to 20 years, Black people in trouble. Thank you, said it also causes brain drain, skill sets, and the king said, if you know business, though, this is just business. It's just business. Thank you for saying that. It's just business. People are getting really up in arms about the things that he's doing, and I can understand not agreeing with it, but it is just business. It is just business. It is just business. But jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host of The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites. Oh, before I go, movie night is scheduled on the 19th. Okay? Our first members movie night scheduled on the 19th. We have movie night and discussion. Okay? Of the movie that we saw. The people have spoken, my members have spoken, and they want to watch Lord of the Rings. Now that actually surprised me. As much as I love that movie, I personally wouldn't have chosen it necessarily. And I love that trilogy. So it surprised me that the members want to watch Lord of the Rings. I thought that was very interesting. A lot of the members said that they've never seen it. That movie's like 25 years old. So yeah. Lord of the Rings is going to be our first. So what we're going to do is since it's a trilogy, we're going to watch one each weekend. So the first one that weekend, the next one the next weekend, the third weekend. Okay. That was an interesting choice. I did not think that my members would do that. I really did. You couldn't have paid me. But we're definitely going to have fun. So if you want to have fun as a member, I suggest becoming a member. Okay. Go to the community tab because there are posts there for members only. Follow the instructions there so that I can include you in the members only section of Discord. But you have to join Discord at first. Okay. Okay. But we definitely always going to have fun. Movie nights is going to be fun. And it's held in Discord. Okay. So we're going to have some fun. All right. Once again, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host of The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.